Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Today's date is August 25th, 2025. And just wanted to say welcome to episode number 3, number 4. You know what? Um, this is gonna be an open forum, right? So might as well just be completely open. So I messed up, y'all. You learn these things when you do a podcast. And I uploaded accidentally episode 3, but I did not add the video. So that one's on Spotify if you guys want to listen to that and catch up. This was supposed to be episode 4. And hey, it's supposed to be all streamlined and stuff, right? But no. Of course, you do these things and you're just all over the place. So there is going to be a little bit of a glitch. So pardon for me. Apologize to the viewers, please. So bear with me again. We're going to build this and grow this together. I'm going to have screw ups. Yes, you can put on the comments that I messed up. Yes, go for it. Light me up. I finally have an email, everybody. So if you guys are watching this video and we're on episode number 4, please go to Oscar's Corner Cafe at gmail.com for any sort of questions or comments that you guys want to do. It's Oscar Cafe Corner at gmail.com. Please, I welcome all the smoke. I hope that the first couple episodes I didn't deter you way too much. For the ones on YouTube, this is your episode number 3. Hopefully the video quality is also better. The first one, the introduction one, I noticed was like I was in a freaking cave. So this is kind of like a work in progress. I'm gonna work through this and hopefully it'll be much better, much smoother, the camera quality, all that. I don't pretend to be a pro on these things. So again, I am learning things as we go. God, I can't even talk right. Learning things. The fuck? Um, so man, so much good stuff was in episode number 3. I guess I'll touch on a little bit because I really wanted to make episode 4 a little bit outside the norm, outside the box. I wanted to talk about some urban legend stuff that was on my mind a few days ago, and I wanted to speak on it and express it to you guys, kind of give you guys a little bit of a history lesson of what it is. Some of you probably already know these stories, but they always intrigue me because a lot of the urban legend stuff that we hear as we're growing up, I'm not sure if it's more of a message, a psychological thing for us growing up, or if there's actually meaning behind it. The one I wanted to touch on today was La Llorona. For some of you that do know, it's the Wailing Woman, which basically the urban legend is that this lady comes around at night, and when you're sleeping around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, she usually shows up. And if you're a child and you hear this woman, you are not to open the window, otherwise she's going to take you. So it's kind of a lesson on kids that are misbehaving. But I'll touch on a little bit to try to get my shit together so that way I'm not losing you guys, so I'm not all over the place. So for right now, I know that was a 3-minute little rant going all over the place, but right now, just grab your favorite cup of Joe. I grabbed my 18-ouncer. Yes, this is coffee. No, it's not beer. For some of you that might not know, I've been cutting the booze out for, I don't know, TBD. I don't know how long it's going to go, but it's a lifestyle change. It's something that I decided to do for myself and for my family. So if any of you are battling with addiction or alcohol consumption and you want to cut it back, hey, I'm there with you. You're not by yourself. You're not alone. Every day is a challenge. Every day will be a struggle. And I'm right there with you. But without further ado, let me grab my cup of Joe. That's a lot of coffee. Yes, I need this much. So let's get to it. How was my weekend? So my weekend was phenomenal. It was actually way more funner than I had anticipated. So some of you might not know this. Some of you that are close to me might know. So my daughter is in competition soccer, competition sports. My other child is a competition dancer. My son is just way too young. But we decided to do a team bonding event this past weekend. We went over to see the women's professional soccer league. And I have always been interested in watching, like, female sports live, right? I mean, I watch the World Cup, the Women's World Cup. I watch U.S. women's national team. I'm a big fan of their team. Just think that they're awesome. And man, when you see regular league games, it's surprisingly entertaining. And I say that not to be insulting or disrespectful to whoever's out there listening and they play sports, but there's a stigma in women's sports that it's not as entertaining as the men's, and it just gets a lot of shade. And there's a lot of people just being ignorant and saying a lot of stupid stuff. But I challenge you to go to a game and enjoy it. I know myself and my family, we did. But we went to go see Bay FC versus the Washington Spirit, who was actually in second place in the standings, which I did not know until I did a little bit more research on this. But we saw the game, and the first half started off kind of a struggle and a challenge for Bay FC. And then there was an auto goal, which is basically where Bay FC tried to kick the ball away, try to clear it, accidentally hit their own player, made a goal. Shit happens. It happens during soccer. It happens even in adult sessions and in younger kids. It happens all the time. So it was a struggle. They were down 3-0. And then second half comes around and the vibe changed. I mean, the Bay FC, they were killing it. They were moving the ball around. They were getting open. They were being way more aggressive. If you guys understand or know soccer, they were opening up in open space. They were attacking the ball. They weren't making silly mistakes. They were not turning the ball over. They were adjusting on defense when the center back was getting cooked left and right. She was just getting spun around on her wheels. And when you get put on skates in soccer, you already lost, because speed is key in soccer, speed. And if you don't got speed, you better have that football IQ, that soccer IQ, that makes sure that you're in the right spot. Anticipate and move, because that's where you think it's going to go, and more than likely that's where they are going to go. But with that being said, the game was phenomenal. Ended with the last 2 minutes left in the game, and there was a corner kick, and the coach for the Bay FC, they decided to throw in their goalie as an additional player to crash the box in hopes that they would score a goal. And they almost did. The goalie actually got the header, got it right into the goalie. Unfortunately, it did not score. There wasn't enough juice in it, but the play was just phenomenal. And then after that, Washington Spirit just kind of cleared the ball out and killed time, and the game was over. But it was fun. The vibe was good. We definitely want to go see another game again. But it was fun, yo. It was fun. It was very fun. And I recommend anybody to go see it. But as we're watching the game, something pretty cool came up. Actually, we were present during history, actually. And those of you that follow women's soccer, you'll know this if you Google it. We were in attendance for the highest attendance in women's soccer for the soccer league. Broke the record. And the record, was probably 15,000 before that, or 17,000 in attendance. And there was 40,000 strong. 40,000 adults, kids of all ages, young girls and young teens out there watching the sport. And it was pretty emotional, to be really honest. More for my wife, I think, than for myself. I think she even hinted to me that she was surprised how emotional she got when they were introducing the players. And those of you who have little girls in sports, you guys can relate to this, that there's nothing more funner and more cool than seeing your child go through this stuff, right? Even if it's not your direct child, it could be your adopted kid, it could be your niece, nephew. There's just something innocent about seeing these kids watching these professional players, and they're just in amazement of how incredibly good they are. And it gives them hope that they will get to those positions. And for our perspective, for myself and my wife, we were thinking that, hey, maybe one day that could be my daughter, right? That could be my oldest. That could be my son. That could be my niece. It doesn't matter. Or even my grandkid, And it's honestly, it's pretty cool. I mean, to be really honest, it's just amazing to just see it and experience it and live it and enjoy it. And we were blessed to be there. And I was thinking about other sports as well, because you start to think about, okay, what other sports are getting the same type of PR, the same type of attention and things like that, right? So then we were kind of Googling, and I was looking at WNBA, and man, what a difference. So WNBA, if some of you do not know, it's the women's professional soccer. I'm sorry, not professional soccer. What the fuck am I talking about? Professional basketball player. And it's a league that's been around since 1998. And on average, they basically get on average in attendance, maybe 8,000, 9,000 strong per game, which is very little. It's a subsidized league where basically they really only own maybe about, I don't know, 40 something percent of the league actually belongs to them. The rest of it belongs to the NBA. It's subsidized by the NBA. And if you guys don't know what that big word means, basically the NBA, the league itself, funds the WNBA and puts it in the green. So in other words, they cover whatever they're short to cover their expenses. And while this is happening, I don't know if you guys have seen this, there's just a lot of toxicity, in my opinion, in that league right now. And it's a damn shame because I'm seeing this soccer game with these young athletes doing their thing and the vibe and the excitement, and they're cheering them on. And I see the complete contrast when I look at the WNBA. And there is various players that you would think are the leaders of the sport for WNBA doing all this. Pardon me while I take a chug real quick. You would think that there's some of these players, that they would try to make their effort to have good PR for the sport, and instead what you're getting is totally something different. So there is one particular player who is incredibly amazing. Now, granted, there's been a lot of players in the WNBA before that have been just as good, if not even better. But this particular player, let's just say she's very next level. She is a phenomenal face of the franchise. The girl is on her P's and Q's. The woman, actually, not the girl, because she's a woman now, right? She's on her P's and Q's. Great PR, very smart, came from a great school, did phenomenal in college, broke numerous amounts of records. And I mean a bunch, right? A bunch of records. And as she's breaking all these records left and right, you would think that there would be a little bit more support from the league and her peers, right? Her professional peers. And that doesn't appear to be the case. There's some players that originally were rubbed the wrong way that this player was getting all the attention. They were giving her shade, saying, oh, she's so good. Well, how come she didn't win the national championship? Which she didn't. Somebody else did. Somebody who is currently being, in my opinion, a little toxic and not very welcoming. There's a lot of shade being thrown. Point is, it doesn't look good. The optics is not look good for that sport. There doesn't seem really a lot of camaraderie. And now they come to the news that they want to get paid as much as the professional NBA player, like the LeBron James, like the Steph Currys, Draymond Greens. I could mean, whatever you want. And the response and the feedback that they're getting from a lot of the people, including myself, is a little bit of like, what are you talking about, right? What type of product have you shown to justify the cost? And a lot of people are like, well, it's a league. They're professional athletes. They should get paid more than $75,000. Hey, by all means, yes, they can, and they should, right? But at the same time, it's a very tough sell when you are not showing up united as a united front. When you do these games, instead, there's a lot of shade thrown against each other. There's a lot of finger pointing, and there's a lot of, and I'm sorry to say, there's a lot of shit talking back and forth rather than being supportive to every single player. And again, everybody's in their feelings, everybody's emotional, and a lot of people take sides on this issue, and it's just a bad PR. So I'm looking at both sports, and just a damn shame, especially after seeing, the soccer game that I saw. I just don't like it, and I really hope that it changes. Hopefully somebody figures it out, but all I know is that women's soccer is here to stay. There's a massive following for that sport. And I think it's got a bright future. And I really strongly and highly recommend for any of you out there to go see a game. You're going to be surprised how fast these girls are and how quick. And those of you who played sports before and played soccer before, know what it takes, know what it means to play soccer, but you'd be surprised to see how the skill level is, right? It's up to par. I'm not gonna lie. No, of course they're not gonna be as quick as the Messis or the Ronaldos doing all this shit, but they're very good. It's an entertaining to watch. It's not a boring thing. And I know a lot of people give soccer a lot of shit, saying, "Oh, it's boring. It's not football. I want to get some action into it." You know what I mean? No, no, no. Cut it out. Cut the shit out, and give the sports the kudos that it deserves. So again, I'm not being supported or sponsored by the soccer league by any means, but whether you think I'm being biased or not, just go watch a game. It's fun. So, anyways, that was my weekend. But back to the subjects at hand, right? So I touched on a little bit about what the channel does. What are we trying to do? What's the mission? The mission is basically trying to vent. The mission is trying to find people that think and relate to what I do and what I feel and don't have a forum or a means to express it. And that's important for this channel. That's important for this podcast. We want to make sure that I'll create a forum where I'm speaking my mind and it's going to be unfiltered. It's going to be very, very raw, right? And that's the point. I want to make sure I create a little bit of friction because I'm sick and tired of everybody tiptoeing around shit and not saying what it is, not saying things enough. I see it on the comments all the time on Facebook on some of these videos that are up there and are uploaded, how some of the videos are stereotypical. They put us in a box, and I'm talking about people in minority, people of color, how we only see that side. We never see the accolades. We never see the good shit. We only see the bad stuff. We only see the ignorant hood rat. We only see the Taquachaka, the Edgars, which if you don't know, it's people with a really weird ass, ugly ass haircut. I don't know why it got so popular. They're always talking about the Quachaka, la Malona, bro, which basically they're talking about the truck. You don't see anything positive. And the more I see these videos, the more upsetting and depressing it gets for me as a minority. And I think about my generation and your generation that's probably watching, if you guys are teachers. You know what you came up with. You know what the expectation was. You knew exactly how you were brought up. And yet, instead of breaking the norm, instead of breaking that cycle, we fall back into it and make it even worse by doing even stupider stuff. And that's all we publish. We don't glorify the positive stuff. We glorify the bad, the ignorant. We laugh at sometimes these on live interviews. And I'll give you 3 examples, and then I'll dive in a little bit into the urban legends. So I saw 3 videos. So last episode, I wanted to talk about that every day during every podcast. I want to speak on some videos that I ran into that are definitely something that bothered me and bothered me a lot. And it bothered me so much that I wanted to speak on it with you and share it because maybe you agree to it and let's do something about it, right? So the first video that I mentioned in the episode that I forgot to play or record the video on. Yes, Oscar, you're an idiot. Yes. All right. Anyway, you can see that episode 3 on Spotify. So I'm going to make this one a little bit different, but it will be tying into those subjects. So I saw a video when my wife and I were in Monterey, and it bugged me and it bugged her. So basically the setting is like this. Imagine a 7-year-old, just playing a game, and you're just like, all right, it's a kid playing a game. What's so funny about it, right? And he is around a pair of adults, whether they're his uncles, cousins, parents. These days, you just never know. It could be their baby daddy, their mom is somewhere in the bathroom, and her love interest is there with the kid. I don't know. I'm not in that family. I won't speak on a subject or a family that I have no idea their backstory, right? But I'm just seeing optics, right? Optics, what we see with our eyes. And the video is about this kid, probably around 6 or 7 years old, and he's playing craps. And if you guys don't know, it's basically playing dice, where you roll the dice, you throw it against the wall, and you put money every time you roll the dice, and if it hits a certain number, you win. And you win that money, you win that pot. And sometimes if people miss enough, that pot could get big, man. It could be $100, $200, $300. And the kid is playing and he gets snake eyes, which is basically you crap, which is usually like, I believe, a double one or a 5 and a 2 or a 4 and a 3, a 7. And when you crap, you lose your money. And this happened to this kid. Mind you, he's 6 or 7 years old, and he starts flipping, losing it. And I mean losing it. The kid is just out of his mind, belligerent, and he storms off. And as he's walking away, the camera pans out and follows this kid, and I'm just like, what the hell? This kid's playing. Number one, major red flags right off the bat. Number one, you're in a freaking hotel. What the hell are you doing there with that kid? Again, I don't know. That's their own shit. They could have had a family event for all I know. But why are we playing craps with this kid, right? And as he's walking away, he's talking and responding to adults saying F this, F that, with a vocabulary that it would completely amaze you as to the profanity and the grown-ass content that's coming out of this kid's mouth. I mean, I'm not even kidding. There were F-bombs. There were mother effing this, mother effing that. You would think this kid was like 12, 13 years old and shit. And he's literally walking to the bathroom, stormed off. And the adults that are there, they're just losing their ish, right? They're like, oh my God, this kid's hilarious as fuck. So, now mind you, again, the camera's panning out and it's following him, right? And as he's walking away, the camera kind of pans out. So you see the kid walking into the bathroom. And the kid is sagging his pants, which is God, don't even get me started on the fashion. But anyway, that's another tangent. I'm not going to go on another tangent, I promise. So the kid is walking away, and he storms off to the bathroom, and you see the kid from the back, and he's sagging his pants, and he's got a big-ass shit stain, like, on his drawers, man. Like, I'm talking about, like, doo-doo. I'm talking about the kid definitely didn't wipe his butt, and nobody's wiping it for him. And it shocked me, made me chuckle, and then made me feel sad. I mean, I'm talking about a roller coaster of emotions and shit from like, ooh, oh, shit. The kid can barely wipe his own ass. And we're having him play craps rather than teaching him something productive. In that kid's mentality, they're getting wired to doing this stuff. At 6. That they're going to go to school. They're probably going to elementary school or daycare. They're going to be doing this. And we're glorifying this. We're making this think that this is effing cool. Look, and I get it. We've all been there. We've all been teenagers and done stupid shit. I get it. I'm guilty of it. I mean, I've played spades with people. I've played craps. I've played dice. Shit, name it. We've played it. We've played it. We played it. But not at 6. Not at 7. Not when, like, you know, there's other stuff I should be learning, like my damn ABCs, my numbers and shit. I can do craps, but I can't do math. I can barely read, but I can play craps. And we're completely okay with this. We're a society. We film this and we uploaded a video and we get likes. We go on TikTok and we get likes, and everybody's like, oh my God, this kid's hilarious. And then the comments start coming down, right? And you would be amazed at the amount of people that can relate to what that kid is going through. And look, I don't care the type of upbringing you've had or you're having. But at some point, if you're going to be responsible for a child, you got to teach that kid the right shit, not to follow in your footsteps. It's going to lead them down the same stereotype that we try to shy away from, right? We don't want to be labeled as a certain thing, right? We definitely want to walk away from it. Pardon me, by the way, audience, if you're listening to my son wailing out in the background. Looks like something happened outside, but I'm not going to dive into it. I'm going to keep moving. Let's keep this chugging along, right? So that was one video. And I would love to get your feedback on that, because honestly, I want to get your perspective. If I'm overreacting and maybe I'm just going belligerent on something really small, but for me, it bugs me. And I'll explain in a minute why. And here's the second video. I saw a second video of being uploaded, and it just happened most recently, actually, of a a couple. They have a disagreement. They break up, right? They go co-parent, and then the dad goes either to pick up the kid or to confront his baby mama, and the baby mama's girlfriend is there, and an altercation ensues. Right, a lot of bad mouth, a lot of crap talking back and forth. This happened in Oakland recently, and it ended tragically. And it's all being recorded through a Ring camera. Those of you that know what it is, please, comment on it and speak on it if you want to. But seeing that video, right? And then you're like, okay, at some point somebody's gonna have some common sense and cool the situation down. And you can hear an adult, probably the owner of the house, make comments like, "What's going on out here? What's going on out here? What's going on out here?" And the two and the couple are talking shit to each other. The partner's there is talking smack, and then the partner of the baby mama of the guy, hopefully I'm not losing y'all. Hopefully you guys can understand this. The guy is just running his mouth. The baby mama's there. They're just being belligerent. They obviously don't see eye to eye, and you can see why they're not together. But this person, this third person, the couple's girlfriend, gets involved, and she starts running her mouth. And then so the dude starts losing his shit because he's like, why are you in this mix? So he starts running his mouth to her. And it's just gradually getting progressively worse. And you know where this is going to end. And I hate saying this, but you're in Oakland, California. Take a guess where it's going to trend, right? So the girl goes back inside the house, and you can hear her storming back inside the house saying, "Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Oh, my mama," which means basically it's about to pop off, right? So at that point, you see all the cues, right? And instead of de-escalating the situation, we make it worse. We don't engage. We don't even bother stopping the situation from happening. The girlfriend sees her girlfriend walk in the house with ill intentions. You would think that this grown adult would have the mental capacity to understand what the hell's going to happen and try to get in front of the situation and try to de-escalate it. Instead, she sits back and watches. Oh man, something's going to happen. Two people are fighting or arguing over me, and it's on camera. What? Let's see what happens. Well, the girl walks back out with a backpack, and she starts walking towards the street. The gentleman, again, is on the street. He's talking to his baby mama, and they're having their own conflict. This person comes in. She reaches in her backpack, and she pulls out a gun, or whether she had it already on her or she pulls it out. The dude interprets that as, hey, you're pulling it out. I'm gonna be the first one to shoot. So they start having a shootout right then and there. One person is like, bop, 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 bop. The other one's like, brah, brah. Just shoot out back and forth with maybe in less than 20-foot distance from one another, right? And tragically, the baby mama's girlfriend gets shot. She falls to the ground. She's still shooting. The dude in self-defense continues shooting even more, probably shoots her multiple times, and tragically, the girl who got shot, she passes away. The dude gets back in his car, storms off. During this whole situation, mind you, there is the dude in his car, one adult, the baby mama, count with me, y'all, that's two adults. There's another person that was with the dude, that's three adults. There is the girl who reached out for the bag, who is no longer here. That's four adults. Then there's the owner of the freaking house. That's five adults. That could have de-escalated the situation and stopped this shit from happening, and one human being could still be alive. Instead, we were too busy recording. We wanted to watch the drama unfold. That's what we wanted to do. When there was multiple cues where we could have stopped this shit, but instead, society right now is wiring everyone, including our young children, to record on their phones rather than stop stuff from happening and escalating and being way worse. And it could have been way worse. And I feel bad for the girl and her family. And, I pray that her family is at peace and trying to figure this out. According to them, it's an ongoing investigation, so it's going to get squirrely. The video's out there. The guy is saying it was self-defense. Other witnesses are saying that it wasn't. We don't know. It's up to the courts now. But for me, what bugs me and bothers me is that, think about the story that I just told you. Two people are having a shootout back and forth in a public setting, middle of the street. Out of all those bullets that were shot by both parties, how many could have struck a child passing by, an innocent bystander? How many? How many thought that maybe, hey, one of these bullets could have ricocheted off a lamppost and struck an adult, a parent, child, grandma that was innocent in their house, getting ready to cook dinner, and gets blasted in the head because two idiots couldn't figure it out, and 5 adults who were present could have de-escalated the situation. And then we wonder why we get put in a box in this stupid stereotype that we cannot break away from. And then I read the comments, right? Because all the stuff was posted live and all that. And I read the comments, and what do you think they say? Oh, it's Oakland. And I'm not going to say the words, but, insert ethnicity here, activities. And then we get mad. But again, that gets uploaded to social media. That's what we see. That's what our kids are seeing at a teenage age. That's what they're clicking on. That's what they're watching, because the algorithm for TikTok, for even YouTube, is basically that. When you click, when you watch, it's noticing. And it pays attention that that's what it wants to see. That's where the money goes. It wants to see destruction. You're teaching it that. It's building off of your interest. And then so our kids are clicking on this, and that's what they're seeing. And then in inner cities, even in some suburban areas, they're starting to see the same thing. And then we get mad and wonder where the kids are getting all this stuff from. And I go back to the original thing from this podcast, is like, this podcast is about the social impact, the social media impact on our youth these days. When we were growing up in my age, and I'm not saying we were perfect, but at least we weren't exposed to that stupid shit. The only thing that we saw was in our communities, and that's how we built our own algorithm in our head. And we had one or two things. Either you found a way to get the F out and break the norm and get out of that inner city, or you fell into the trap and became what it was. But it wasn't glorified. You weren't getting likes for being a knucklehead. You might have been cool, but you weren't getting millions and getting paid billions of dollars for being an absolute idiot. But in these days, it pays to be a fool. We are all walking jesters. We're all just a walking joke. If we act this way, if we behave this way, for somebody's viewing, for somebody's pleasure, for somebody's entertainment. They're sitting back in their nice couch, wherever they might be and wherever they might live, not in your neighborhood. They're watching you crumble to pieces, and then you wonder why, when you go to a fancy restaurant, why you get labeled a certain way. Why do we get stigmatized? Because that's the only image we are portraying. Because we have failed as a society to glorify what we need to glorify. Where is the videos of these kids graduating from Harvard, from Howard University, from Stanford, valedictorians that are minorities? You hardly see those damn videos. You have to literally go look for them. You have to search for them. But the algorithm that we are building is not what, it's not that. The algorithm's like, shit, you want to see drama and people getting shot? Let me show you that video. And our kids are seeing this. And they're making their own algorithm in their own head. And they think in their minds, with the social pressures of social media, because that's what it is, they start acting a fool. I mean, just if any of you parents that are listening to this, or teachers that have kids of your own, ask your students what they see every day. You see it if you work there. You see it at school. There is almost fights, which I like to call it these days. There is drama everywhere. We all had it growing up. But that's what sticks. Not, hey, I got an A on my math test. How did you get that? Or kids calling each other, hey, what'd you get for this answer? Or, hey, would you want to study with me real quick? Because I can't get this. I'm having a difficult time. It's easier for kids that are struggling to make money by acting dumb and foolish than it is to grind and learn and become cerebral up here. It goes back to the whole, like, you give a man a fish and you teach him how to fish and all that. It goes back to that scenario, that analogy. But that's what we're teaching. That's what we're okay with. I saw those 2 videos. There's one more too that I'm not going to have time for it, but it was just absolutely asinine. And adults are falling into the same habit. We pick up a phone and we start recording. Stop the shit. Stop it. And I know there's a lot of apprehension these days because kids these days are carrying guns and they just shoot without thinking. I know there's a lot of apprehension. I know that there's fear. So we choose to look the other way, but that is not helping anybody. So before it gets to that point, if you're unable to change somebody else's ideology or mental aptitude up here, at least focus on your own children and those kids that you can touch, meaning like the kids you can reach. Like if you're a teacher, your students, you're not going to reach them all. That's impossible because teachers themselves have their own pressures of, there's a lot of parents who just show up, drop off their kid, and they expect you to be the parent. That's bullshit too. So to all my people out there in the educational system, I feel you. I was a knucklehead too. But I'll tell you what, when I got home, if my grades were bad, there'll be a butt whooping to me. There'll be a belt. I'm not condoning. I'm not saying that it did not have a negative impact on my livelihood, but I'll tell you what, I made sure I paid attention and I got A's on my fucking test. But reach the kids that you can and try to guide them and navigate through this shit, because honestly, what I'm seeing is just depressing and it's just trending the wrong way. It's not getting any better. Every day you pick up the phone on social media, you see some shit that's being glorified and you're just absolutely just amazing. But what can we do? What have you done? I can tell you how to start, but the rest is up to you. Try to initiate and engage in a conversation with your child and just ask them about their day, how their day went. You would be amazed at the amount of information these kids want to give you, how eager they are to tell you, how excited they are that someone in their household is excited in their day. So take time to listen as well. During dinner, ask them how their day went. Don't engage in the back and forth, because if you don't talk to them enough and they start giving you attitude, that's a red flag right off the bat that maybe you have not shown enough interest for them to actually engage with you. You have to work on that. But trust me, once you break through and these kids start engaging with you and venting to you, you're going to realize that their attitude will change. They will actually listen to your advice rather than basically tune you the fuck out. They won't be listening to their friends. They're going to be less inclined to do the dumb stuff because they're going to remember what you told them and they're going to know that they're not going to want to disappoint you. I had my son last week. We're in the process of potty training. So there's always going to be days where he's going to do better and other days where he's not going to do as good. And there was one time when, of course, he's too much on a tablet. And because he's too much on a tablet, he decides not to go to the bathroom because he gets lazy and he just has an accident. And when I brought it to his attention, he moped and got sad and he stormed off. And at first I thought I was too harsh on him because I did tell him flat out that, hey, I'm very disappointed. You know better than this. We've taught you enough. And he basically told my wife, and this was a tearjerker for me, an eye-opening. He told my wife that he was sad not because of the punishment that I gave him or because he was grounded, but he was sad because he disappointed me and he let me down. There is a lot of kids out there, including some that might be listening to this. If you're a teenager and you're listening to this, we're not disappointed in you. We just need you to do better. We know you can do better, but you also need to speak up. And if you're a parent, engage and listen to those kids. Because I'm telling you right now, once they do and once it clicks, you're going to have a wonderful relationship and they're going to turn into beautiful human beings. So let's not fall into the norm. Let's not fall into the trap. And let's do better. So, sorry I wasn't able to touch on to La Llorona. I guess I'm going to leave that for episode number 5. But just be good. Have fun. God bless. Enjoy your families. And I'll leave you at that. Peace.